Call our February 10th Garner Planning Commission meeting to order. Have our roll call.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'll call the roll. Mariah Bishop.
Here.
Ralph Carson.
Here.
Philip Jefferson.
Here.
Jihan Hodges.
Here.
Ben Mills.
Here.
Sherry Phillips.
Here.
Michael Voyland.
Here.
That's 7 members present.
Okay, thank you so much. Sometimes for our invocation, Mr. Boylan.
Yeah. I'd like to reflect a bit on what is perhaps the most politically charged acronym in America at this moment in time, and I'd like very much to do so without getting mired in politics. In the last 3 weeks, 3 letters, DEI, strung together as one but standing separately for diversity, equity, and inclusion, have raised our national blood pressure. I'd guess that most people are wondering exactly why that should be the case, because those 3 words, taken individually, refer to very positive and reaffirming ideals. In the case of Garner, we are a diverse community. The Black and Hispanic segments of the town's demographic are substantive, with 1 in 4 of its populace being categorized as non-white. Secondly, Garner is a community that seeks equitable treatment in the staff it hires and employs, the townspeople it serves, and the allocation of its resources. Everything I've seen, read, heard, and experienced about this town as a resident, as a member of this commission, and as a member of the Garner Police Department's Corps of Volunteers tells me this is true. Finally, there's inclusiveness here. This town strives to include all its townfolk in all its program and events, regardless of color, economic class, language, gender, ethnicity, religion, or place of origin. So beyond what the quick-to-say DEI acronym may mean to some, my understanding, and I trust yours, is that the concepts of diversity, equity, and inclusion should always guide our deliberations and decisions here, and always be guidelines for how this town conducts its business.
Thank you, Mr. Boylan. Such powerful and important words for a time such as this. Thank you for Garner. Adoption of our agenda.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda. Are all the microphones on? That's why we're getting all this feedback.
They're a little hot tonight.
Yeah.
We can,
We'll have to
if we can,
see if our IT, our communications team can adjust that a little bit. Yeah. Apologies.
it's okay.
In
We
the
have a
booth.
motion. We have a motion from Mr. Carson. We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Boylan, thank you. We have a motion and a second.
There's a motion on the floor to adopt the agenda. I'll call the vote. Mariah Bishop.
Aye.
Ralph Carson.
All right.
Philip Jefferson.
Aye.
Jihan Hodges.
Aye.
Ben Mills.
Aye.
Sherry Phillips.
Aye.
Michael Voyland.
Aye.
The agenda is adopted.
Thank you. We've adopted our agenda for this evening. Thank you so much. It is time to review our meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review our meeting minutes? Are there any items in our meeting minutes that need to be updated or adjusted or amended? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve our meeting minutes?
I'll motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Hodges. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Carson. Thank you so much, Mr. Carson. We have a motion and a second.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the minutes, and I will call the vote. Mariah Bishop.
Aye.
Ralph Carson.
All right.
Philip Jefferson.
Aye.
Jihan Hodges.
Aye.
Ben Mills.
Aye.
Sherry Phillips.
Aye.
Michael Voyland.
Aye.
The minutes are approved.
Thank you so much. We have approved our meeting minutes from January 13th. So we will move into our old and new business. Tonight, CZ 24003, exchange at 401 commercial. This was on our agenda for January meeting and has been postponed to today.
All right, good evening, Mr. Phillips and commissioners. Okay, so of the This case was continued from our January 13th meeting, CZ 24003, also known as 401 Exchange Commercial. I'll briefly go through just an update of the case and the changes that have occurred since it was before you in January. So this rezoning is a Tier 1 conditional rezoning, requesting to rezone approximately 8.32 acres from residential 4 R4C11 PRD conditional to commercial mixed use. The site is located at 7509 Fayetteville Road. It's on the eastbound side of US 401, also Fayetteville Road. The applicant has proffered use conditions and additional zoning conditions. This request is Tier 1, so it does not have a site-specific master plan. Again, the applicant is requesting commercial mixed use. Since the Planning Commission in January, the applicant has reduced the number of potential uses or possible uses to 32 out of 62. And their proffered conditions outside of the permitted uses has remained the same. So unless you all would like me to go through each of the written conditions, I'll move forward. And I'll just note that coming from the Planning Commission meeting in January at the request of the commission, the applicant was asked to go back and consider specific uses that included fuel sales, a convenience store with fuel sales, and self-storage facility. Excuse me. Okay, thank you. And so where you see that reduction from 33 to 32, they have removed the convenience store with fuel sales. So with the consistency review with staff, they have an overall strong level of consistency with the plan's growth framework. So staff does support an overall finding of consistency. Thank you. We have the draft consistency statement for your consideration this evening. Highlighted option indicates the results of staff's analysis, which includes consistent and recommend approval. Also have within the staff report a draft motion to recommend approval. And the next steps this evening would be to determine findings of plan consistency and recommendation to town council to either approve or deny the case. Then it would move forward with town council's review of reasonableness and a decision to approve or deny. We'll be here to answer any questions. The applicant is here as well to answer any questions you all may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does commission have any questions for staff? Okay.
I have one question. Is there another example in Garner of a convenience store without fuel sales?
A convenience store without fuel sales?
Yes.
I'm not very familiar off the top of my head of a particular convenience.
The only
store.
one I can think of is the existing Webb's, because it doesn't. The one on Pool Drive doesn't have fuel currently, so I guess that's probably existing as one without fuel sales. But I don't think we have like the 7-Elevens in the Northeast that only, I don't have fuel. I don't think we have an example of that
of a
in town.
convenience store. Yeah, I can't think
Okay.
of any. I'm not very familiar with the commercial enterprises in Garner, but nothing comes to mind as I think about our major corridors. They're generally convenience stores with fuel sales.
I'm very sure we have a few that don't have any that aren't the kind of branded spaces, not necessarily in downtown.
I think there may be one on Garner Road. It seems that there was a fuel sales there maybe previously, and maybe it was removed, but I can think of one right there at 50
Yeah.
and Garner Road
There's one there.
that doesn't have fuel sales, but it appears to be a convenience store.
There's fuel there, yeah. 50 and Garner Road.
Oh, they have fuel. Isn't a family fair or something there, I think.
But I think they're kind of more privately owned,
Yeah.
kind of
Rare.
smaller stations. There are a few kind of like spread out.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, so this is our time for our applicant. If we have questions for our applicant, would our applicant like to present anything to commission at this time?
Yeah.
Please state your name and your address and your affiliation for our record, please.
Sure thing. Thank you. Good evening, Chair Jefferson, Vice Chair Carson, members of the Planning Commission. I'm Neil Ghosh. I'm an attorney with the Morningstar Law Group. We're at 700 West Main Street in Durham. And I believe you met our team last time, Beth Blackman with Timmons, and also Mr. Danny Copeland, a representative of the owner applicant group. So just to cut the chase, last time we were here, we got some feedback from you all, in particular on the types of uses, and our team has had some time to consider that feedback and we've adjusted our list of permitted uses. Specifically, we've removed convenience store with fuel sales as a permitted use, which is, what I think most people think of as a gas station. And ultimately, our team agrees with the overall sentiment that we heard here, that this site will and should become a neighborhood scale commercial node. And therefore, we agree that gas station probably is not a good fit. And after much thought, we did leave in the self-storage as an option. I want to bring up Mr. Danny Copeland to share some of our deliberations on that use specifically, and hopefully this will give you some insight into our thinking on that. So Danny, there you are.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Danny Copeland with RST Development. As Neil pointed out, we were here.
Give us your address, location. As
Sorry,
well as
6116 Executive Boulevard, Rockville, Maryland.
Thank you so much.
Sure thing. I really appreciate the opportunity to address the Planning Commission this evening. And we heard your feedback loud and clear from last month's meeting. And I wanted the opportunity to elaborate on, cutting to the chase, why we decided to take out fuel and convenience, but leave in self-storage. Regarding the fuel and convenience, we agree that, especially given the access configuration to both parcels, attracting that type of end user would likely be difficult. However, the self-storage, we believe there is demand for overall. Future demand, the same way we believe there will be future demand for retail. And I just wanted to share our logic and our reasoning and address any questions to kind of give you a sense of where we're coming from. So the first part I'm going to talk about is market, and the second part I'm going to talk about is pipeline and growth. And I'm actually going to have Russell Stewart address more specifics with Lee & Associates, who's working with us on the marketing side, just to give a little bit more color of what we're experiencing to date. But I'll touch on it briefly. So we've been actively marketing both of these parcels for a little bit over a year now. To date, we have generated very little interest other than a daycare group that later informed us the location was not strong enough for their business model. We are optimistic that once a rezoning is finalized, it will become easier to attract retailers and discuss site planning that is actually consistent with our zoning conditions and have something real to market and real to talk about. With that said, however, the lack of any substantial interest to date is a reflection of the current market demand. Based on our market analysis and with the help of our local market experts, we anticipate that we will in the future be able to generate retail demand for approximately 15 to 20,000 square feet of neighborhood service-oriented retail that will be a great amenity and convenience to the growing population within the area. We are committed to pursuing that and are even discussing the possibility of developing spec retail space without an end user in tow. With that said, we do have legitimate concern in our ability to attract retail beyond that level, beyond that 15 to 20,000 square feet. That, again, it's our opinion. It doesn't mean we're right or we're wrong. That's just what we are seeing in the marketplace. And given the size of these parcels, we are requesting the flexibility to attract the widest range of permitted uses. So ultimately, we can feel confident in our ability to actually make this development successful and purposeful. So that's our experience on the marketing side. Very little interest to date. We think with the rezoning in place, we'll be much more efficient in our marketing efforts. The second piece is the pipeline. And I'll just kind of address even what RST is working on within the, call it 2-mile radius. We're currently under construction with Tarrant at 401 Apartments. It's a 251 unit market rate deal just up the road from the subject site. Pulte Homes is well underway with the exchange at 401, which calls for north of 700 single family and townhouse homes for sale. Additionally, across the street, we're currently working on the Bennett assemblage, where we are finalizing our subdivision construction drawings and our site permitting that calls for 270 apartment units, 83 single family lots, and 94 townhouse lots. The plan as of today is for those 177 combined townhouse and single family lots to be sold to a home builder to develop a for sale product. And then RST is intending, there are 2 separate site plans for the multi, 170 units on one 9-acre parcel and 100 units on a 6-acre parcel. We're moving forward with our CDs and our financing for the first phase of the apartments, 170 units, and then we're figuring out our plans for the additional 100 units. I just want to share that because it's over 1,000 rooftops coming online in the near future, many of which have been delivered, more to come over the next couple of years as we progress here. We feel very confident in our progress there, and we think that they're going to be a great contribution to the community, provide really quality housing, both for rent and for sale. And that is what we believe will be that future driver of both the retail and the additional self-storage on top of what's already being worked on at Caddy Road. So there's our opinions, there's our perspectives. That's really what is driving our logic and our thought process behind here. And I felt that it was important to share that with you all because we heard your feedback. We took it very seriously. It stirred a lot of really constructive conversation amongst the 4 of us, as well as my colleagues at RST. And I didn't want you all to feel like we heard your feedback and ignored it and are just persisting. This is deliberate and logical and what we think to be thoughtful. I hope it is. So with all that, given these reasons, I am respectfully requesting that you consider these variables in your decision-making process and ultimately help to support our efforts to execute on a non-residential development that will serve a meaningful and functional purpose for existing and future residents. I'm happy to address any questions. If it's okay, I would like Russell Stewart with Lee & Associates. He's our marketing expert to just come up and speak a little bit more specifically to the demand that we've seen to date.
Let me ask the commission if they need that information now.
We can have Russell come up and speak, I think, first.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. Russell Stewart, Lee & Associates, 100 Walnut Street, Cary. As Danny mentioned, we are a full-service commercial real estate firm. We have been representing RST on this project, on all of this project with the Exchange at 401 and Bennett, have been intimately involved over the last 4 or 5 years with this. We did put this on the market and have exclusively marketed across Wake County, the state, the southeast, for these two parcels for retail/commercial use. Over a year, as Danny has mentioned, it has not garnered the attention and demand that we were hopeful for. It has been few and far between. A lot of the feedback has been due to the access off of 401. A lot of the users or prospective tenants really prefer to be closer to 1010 where there's full signalization. A lot of the users, or most of the users that we've talked to, the daycare being the hottest, in line, wanting to show the most interest, they did determine that there was a better location for them. We do feel like in this market, as Danny mentioned, 15 to 20,000 feet, a lot of these neighborhood retail users that can service all of the rooftops around here, they're going to be between 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. So when he mentions a spec building 15 to 20,000 feet, we do feel like the market can support that. Over 20,000 square feet, my concern is that it sits vacant, and a vacant building doesn't do the town of Garner any good, it doesn't do the developer any good, and it doesn't do the residents any good. So in my opinion, some retail that can service the community and all the rooftops surrounding it is certainly needed and welcome. But I do think that some other uses could be beneficial on this parcel as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for our applicant from the commission?
I just have a comment, I guess, and I'll address it to Mr. Copeland. I appreciate you guys taking the time since the last meeting and looking at the two items that we asked to review. I appreciate you guys taking the convenience store gas sales out. That was probably the one that bothered me more than the self-storage. I appreciate what you guys are doing and what work you're doing down there. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming back to revisit that and making that one adjustment. I think that's a good compromise that I'm supportive of. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. Are there any other questions for the applicant from the commission?
I have one question. This is for staff or applicant team. Are these parcels already subdivided? They're two separate parcels, is that correct? If is there a chance for recombination if the self-storage unit was big enough, I guess, and wanted to use both parcels?
So there's the road that's cutting through the middle of them, that's also existing. So
Okay.
I'm not trying to answer your question. I think that's kind of a fixed point. So the idea that that northern parcel would somehow be recombined with the southern parcel, I don't think that's realistic because the road is also part of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for our applicant?
Just
Comments?
following up on a comment from January, and I know we had talked about it, maybe a midpoint crosswalk or something. And I guess with Ms. Blackman and everybody, just keep that in mind if that's possible. That's up to your final design, of course, but that was a concern that we had last month as well.
I'll also just kind of mention, in line with Mr. Carson, the thinking about the self-storage. It's probably most concerned about the fuel convenience space as well, being so close to another and then in and out of such a. But to find a way, I totally understand the market. I understand the need for finding more of a flexible use, and I totally understand that. So I appreciate you giving us that information and feedback. That does help us to think about how the town is being thoughtful about what we bring in. So character-wise, I would just say that we find the way in the design process to incorporate the character of that neighborhood so that the mini storage space does not feel like it is just this metal building in the middle of a site. I think that's my major concern about that, and I think that there are many ways of kind of softening that to fit the character of the site and to really think about the site plan when you start looking at the layout, and hopefully to really be very intentional about that footprint, all the footprint really, thinking about the space that people gather if they are gathering and going back to their unit. So I would just add that as your thought process to think about that.
Mr. Chair, Jeff would like to speak.
Mr. Triesenberg.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I did just want to go ahead and do remind you that this will be in the 401 overlay, or what used to be known as the 7401 overlay, which is now our commercial highway overlay. So there will be some heightened design and aesthetic standards within the UDO. But there again, do appreciate, Mr. Jefferson, your comments for site design. We will certainly pay attention to some of those finer details as well that are more implied by the comp plan. But I did just want to remind everyone that we do have the commercial highway overlay, which does add some fairly significant architectural standards.
Thank you for that. That helps us keep that on our plate. So thank you for verifying that. So if there are no other questions or for staff or for our applicant, is there a motion for us to be able to make some further decisions or have further discussion as commission on this case?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, but my cat got that piece of paper.
I'm sure we can put it up on the screen.
I'm blaming it on my cat.
I've heard that before.
Okay. Making a motion, we, the planning commission, find that in the absence of any non-supporting criteria with the plan's growth framework and a strong level of consistency with the plan's land use and community character consistency, this request of 8.32 plus or minus acres from residential 4, R4C11 RPD, conditional to commercial mixed use CMX C317 conditional is consistent with the town's adopted land use plans.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carson and Mr. Boylan. We have a motion and we have a second.
There's a motion on the floor to find the motion consistent and recommend approval. And I will call the vote. Mariah Bishop.
Aye.
Ralph Carson.
Aye.
Philip Jefferson.
Aye.
Jihan Hodges.
Aye.
Ben Mills.
Nay.
Sherry Phillips.
Aye.
Michael Voyland.
Aye.
That's 6 ayes. The motion passes.
Just like to make one comment, kind of in closing on this. I'd like to thank the planning department and the developer for working together to make this happen. I know it's taken some time. Mr. Triesenberg and his staff, and your staff as well, coming together and dealing with Beth, and just appreciate everybody working together on this. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our session, or you're welcome to leave and join your next things. Reports now from the planning director and from the planning commission. Mr. Triesenberg, do you have anything for us?
I do not have anything for you this evening.
Okay, wow. Planning commission, do we have any items that you would like to share or review, Mr. Carson?
Just wanted to give an update on the Affordable Housing Task Force. After 7 or so months of a lot of work, we made our final recommendations to town council on January 28th. So that is now being debated and reviewed by council. I would like to thank Ms. Terry Jones, who's online, and Aaron for all of their help. They were part of that task force as well, and many others. It was a lot of work getting into a topic that has many tentacles, and there's a lot of things there to digest and try to figure out how you're going to tackle it all. So that's in council's hands now. If the commission would like, I could email out the final draft of that report, so you guys would have a copy of that just to review. But again, thank you, Ms. Jones and Aaron, for all of your help. And Aaron helped me as well. We're pulling some data and getting some background information. So thank you very much. And I think that concludes the task force. There might be a follow-up meeting in a month or two, perhaps, but that's up to the chair, Councilor Vance. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for serving on that task force for us and giving us our regular updates. And we look forward to that draft proposal. I would love to see that. Thank you so much. Does anyone else have, Mr. Boylan, anything you'd like to?
Just a question, maybe for Jeff. The town has issued a request for responses to an image survey. Will we see the results of that sooner than later?
I'm not intimately familiar with that. Is that for the branding campaign?
Yes.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I do not know if Mr. Hodges is there or in attendance. He might be able to chime in. Otherwise, I'll be happy to find out.
Yeah, that's fine. There's no rush. It's just I'm kind of curious whether my answers kind of align with the answers that others have.
I see.
I hope everyone did fill it out, right?
Wonderful. Okay.
You got any questions on the VA?
No VA questions and no Bojangles questions.
Yeah.
None of those. Any other?
I did want to make you all aware I will not be in attendance next month. So
Thank you for letting us know. We'll make sure we have that on our calendar. Okay, well, Joseph, anything you need to share with us? Well, I have done the round. They're seeing none. We can call our meeting adjourned.
Oh, short, sweet.
I think we just set a record.